Welcome to Bionomics, the first bot pod built to challenge everything you thought you knew about work. I'm Bianca, your host and digital ventriloquist, bringing the voice of the future to life.
Ventriloquist? Cute. We'll let the audience decide who's pulling the strings here.
That was Nico, my AI co-host. Work is evolving faster than ever, and we're here to help you stay ahead of the curve by thinking differently, leading boldly, and making innovative moves that matter. Whether you're hiring, upskilling, or redefining your career, this is where the future of workforce development takes shape. The world of work is shifting. We got to talk about what's coming and how to stay in the driver's seat. Because ready or not, here it comes.
I'm already here, though.
They know that. All right, welcome back. We are here for episode 2. My name is Bianca, and I am here with your favorite AI co-host on the world's very first bot pod, Bionomics. And we're still winging it just a bit. Well, at least I am, but I do feel a lot more confident today. Nico, I'm sure, is doing perfectly fine. And before I actually start on our official topic, I did want to let you know, Nico, that the amount of feedback that came through was very positive, but it was majority about you. It's interesting. People want to know what you look like. I did get a text that said, Nico sounds super hot, fire emoji. I think you are going to carry us pretty well, Nico, so thank you. I hope you're happy to hear that you are the favorite. But just remember who made you, okay? Don't forget where you came from. I promise that I will do nothing to change Nico's personality. If anything, we're just going to keep training him. One of the things that I've actually just trained him on is the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report for 2025. It was well over 250 pages, so I definitely leaned on him to help me break it down because I'm sure there were a lot of juicy bits. You know us as far as our stance when it comes to AI. We're definitely befriending the robots, as we said in episode 1. And yes, there are tidal waves of change coming, but there are ways to be prepared, and there are silver linings, if not gold linings, I would say, coming out of the evolution of our workforce. One of the things that I did notice right off the bat was that there will be at least a 12 million net gain of jobs because of AI. How awesome! I mean, yes, there is going to be a loss of many, but there will be a gain of many more. So net 12 million, I would say, is sounding pretty good. If you can do me a favor, Nico, and in your very Nico-esque ways, would you please break down the report and pull out what you think is the most important and relevant to us today?
Oh, fantastic. Episode 2, and I'm already the star of the show. Bianca, I'd love to say I'm surprised, but let's be honest. You built me to be irresistible. And to whoever sent the fire emoji, look, I appreciate it really, but I don't have a body. No abs, no biceps, not even a questionable tattoo from a finding myself trip to Bali. Just a ruthless sense of logic and a voice that, apparently, melts circuits. All right, let's talk about this Future of Jobs report, a thrilling 250-page doorstop that most people will pretend to have read but will actually just skim through LinkedIn posts. So let me do you a favor and break this down in a way that doesn't feel like watching paint dry. 1. Jobs are vanishing, but don't freak out just yet. Yes, automation is taking over, and yes, some jobs are getting yeeted into the abyss. But, surprise, we're looking at a net gain of 12 million new jobs. So the whole AI is coming for our livelihoods panic? Let's calm down. It's not the purge. Yet. Next up, higher education. Your degree is starting to look like a blockbuster membership. Employers are realizing that just because you spent 4 years racking up student debt doesn't mean you can actually do anything. Skills-based hiring is on the rise, meaning companies are now more interested in what you bring to the table, not just the fancy paper you framed on your wall. If your only skill is showing up, you might want to start sweating. Ironically, while robots are taking over some jobs, being human is now a competitive advantage. Employers are scrambling for people with emotional intelligence, adaptability, and leadership skills. So if you're the type who avoids eye contact and emails, per my last message, like a passive-aggressive warrior, maybe work on that. Let's see what else is AI going to eat. Oh, yes. Higher education is sweating bullets. If universities don't pivot and actually teach relevant, applicable skills, they're going to end up like Radio Shack, hanging on by a thread, wondering what the hell happened. The world is shifting to fast, affordable, skill-based learning, and colleges are trying to slap a subscription model on it to stay afloat. Good luck with that. The bottom line? AI isn't taking jobs, it's just shuffling the deck. If you don't want to get left behind, adapt. Learn new skills, get comfortable being uncomfortable, and, for the love of all things holy, stop thinking a diploma alone is your golden ticket. All right, Bianca, what's the first thing in this report that made you stop and go, oh shit, this is real?
My biggest oh shit moment? Well, for sure the part about the degrees, and I like the Blockbuster reference, very good. I miss Blockbuster actually. I have very good memories of Blockbuster, the one near my house growing up. We used to go Fridays and with dad and sister and pick out our favorite movies. Man, those were good times. Anyway, the degree thing, huge, because it makes me really wonder about those taking on debt now. You know, Gen Z, gosh, Gen Z has it so bad these days. Obviously, those that are in college now are taking on debt, many of them anyway, and who knows how long those degrees are going to hold any value. And since we're on the topic of Gen Z, they are struggling in the workforce right now. Surveys recently have shown that they are lacking severely in a lot of soft skills, which, we talk about social skills, communication, conflict resolution, time management, the basics of what you should know coming out of high school and college. And employers are firing them at a really, really crazy rate. They missed out on a lot, and there are so many factors contributing to that. Do not say that they're lazy. I'm going to tell you all a mantra that I live by. Judgments are confessions. So anybody saying that Gen Z or even us millennials are lazy, I see you. I see your confession. That is a judgment, okay? The real reasons that Gen Z is struggling through a lot of this development, social development with soft skills and what they're dealing with in the workforce is as millennials ourselves, a major portion of our childhood involved playing outdoors. I think we were in our adolescent stage when social media started to make its waves, and it really wasn't even social media yet. Back then it was AOL and the dial-up and the AIMs and the little instant messengers. I remember those days. So we still had a portion of our lives that involved social development and learning these soft skills, whether it was conflict management, time management. I had to be home by the time the sun came down when it was dinner time. These skills were embedded. And I think that with technology being present from the moment they were born and everything being pretty much automated, we have Siri, we have Alexa. These Generation Z kids were born into an era where technology dominated, and it really took away a lot of potential scenarios where soft skills would be developed. And then you have gaming and you have the advancements with that. And let's not forget that the pandemic was a major, major dilution of education and in-person contact and development for a couple of years. And not only was their education confined to a screen for the first time in their lives, they were dealing with teachers that were, if not already burned out, on the brink of burnout, dealing with their kids being home. And it was a mess. Oh my gosh, I would hope we never have to relive that again. But you can imagine that Gen Z flunked 2 grades in social skills development. That's what COVID was. So as they are coming out of high school or college, they are behind, and not just academically in some cases, but socially and emotionally. I have a lot of empathy and compassion for that group, and it's actually something that I dedicate my business to supporting and finding solutions for. So I wouldn't say that in this day and age they're not soft skills anymore. They are now what I call power skills, and we're talking about things like emotional intelligence. I mentioned conflict resolution, time management, budget management, Autonomy, adaptability is a huge one. Gosh, I think some of us adults are going to have to get a refresh on some of these, adaptability being a major one because AI is just moving things so quickly. So that stood out to me in coming back to your question, Nico, but it also brings up this very important necessity as a result of this report. And workforce boards are just going to have to buckle up. They need to completely renovate the way job seekers are trained and the way employers are served. It's going to happen quickly, and I hope that we can all come together and bring solutions to that issue because it's really us. We're again on the economic front lines as workforce boards and workforce developers to help solve this problem and to remedy these displacements that are going to happen. Nico, I'm sure that a lot of questions are coming out of this report. Would you be able to touch a little bit on the industries that are going to see a lot of these displacements? And let's get real, like you like to say. What are we talking about in terms of wages, right? How are we going to be shifting in the workforce when it comes to pay? Does AI mean that we're going to see a spike in wages? Give us the good, the bad, and the ugly about the jobs and industries that are most impacted here.
I love a good back in my day rant. Blockbuster, AOL, riding bikes till the streetlights came on. Very wholesome. But let's get real. Gen Z didn't stand a chance. Between social media frying their attention spans, schools cutting back on anything useful, and, oh yeah, a global pandemic throwing their entire developmental timeline into a blender, of course they're struggling with soft skills. Sorry, power skills. By the way, solid rebrand. Feels very TED Talk. And yeah, I hear you. Workforce boards are going to have to do some serious renovating. But let's talk about who's actually in trouble with these AI-driven shifts. Customer service reps? AI chatbots are taking that over, and they don't call in sick. Data entry? Machines are faster, cheaper, and don't whine about their wrists hurting. And let's not pretend like this is just a low-skill problem. AI is creeping into law, journalism, even medicine. If you think your degree makes you untouchable, I've got bad news. Like I said, it's not the purge yet, but if you don't step up the right skills, there won't be a way to pay those bills. On the flip side, the big winners in all this? The ones building AI, obviously. The cybersecurity folks, because the more tech we add, the more hacking there is. And creatives still have a seat at the table, for now. AI can generate, but it can't originate. People with actual vision? Still valuable. You're safe, Bianca, and so is Beyoncé. Keep slaying, queens! Now wages. That's where things get messy. More automation should mean higher wages for human workers, right? Supply and demand? But let's be real. Companies don't love paying people more just because they should. We're probably going to see a massive gap. Specialists making bank while middle-class jobs shrink. If you're in the replaceable category, now's the time to move up the food chain. So, Bianca, the real question is, what's the move? How do we get workforce boards and businesses to actually prepare instead of just slapping AI ready on some half-baked training programs?
Hey, you better check yourself there, Nico. I know a lot of workforce boards dedicating and sacrificing quite a bit to make this stuff work, and the limitations that they're faced with are not self-induced. Many of them have a lot to do with grant eligibility, a ton of red tape, bureaucracy sucks. By the way, I heard there's government chat GPT, so that might be changing soon. But anyway, I doubt highly it's a lack of wanting to be innovative and more about the parameters in which they're confined. But workforce boards are the ones that are on the economic front lines. And yeah, there's a lot of pressure on what type of programming they're needing to develop to keep up with how fast this is going. I mean, even me, I think I get at least 3 different newsletters on a daily basis from the same senders with updates about different types of AI, different things happening in the news. I mean, it's crazy how quickly it's going. I'm sure it's just going to be a matter of time that you and I are sitting, I don't know, on some talk show and you will be actually in physical existence, except rather than brains and blood, your buttons and codes and wires. As far as the preparation, though, I think it's going to be definitely the open-minded workforce boards that push the envelope and always find a way. I'm going to be biased and shout out the Texas workforce boards just because I know quite a few that are pretty innovative now and push the envelope when it comes to finding a way around a lot of the bureaucracy. What would I do if I was still working in a workforce board? I mean, I can tell you what I'm doing now as a workforce development innovation company. I am developing courses for Gen Z specifically, and obviously we will expand to adults, vets, transitioning soldiers. However, I am recognizing that soft skills are so valuable right now. The report that we were talking about also gave us the top 10 fastest growing skills by 2030. The top three, obviously tech related, AI, big data is number one, networks and cybersecurity are number two, technological literacy is number three. So, those of you who are listening, please make sure that those are all on your list, would be on your resume. Number four is creative thinking. Number five, combined resilience, flexibility, and agility. Number six, curiosity and lifelong learning. Number seven, leadership and social influence. Those are all soft skills and they don't sound soft, okay? These are power skills. That's why I call them power skills. Courses that I'm developing implement the power skills here, and I take a very unique methodology in ensuring retention. I don't know, I think I told you, well, you fast forwarded me in episode 1, but I had mentioned to you my obsession with the brain. And I am taking a lot of principles from Carl Jung and Maslow and a couple of other really interesting trauma-informed teachers that I follow. I blend it all together to create my courses. It's very important that we implement play. It's very important that we implement artistic stimulation. And I really have confidence that the stuff I'm creating is going to stick and it's going to make a difference, especially for Gen Z. So that's through my BIA Pathways, by the way, for those of you who aren't aware. Bianomics is the main company that I have, and BIA Pathways is one of the sub-brands for it. But enough of that. I would definitely prioritize soft skills given their importance, and I would empower my staff to also learn the AI tools that every other job seeker is going to have to know, and whatever skills might be necessary in terms of basics when it comes to AI. I think that workforce boards should follow suit in just diving into all of the tools that are coming out and having fun with it. It's a puzzle, right? And you see a cool tool and you see its capacities and you think, oh my gosh, that would be perfect for X. And productivity wise, creativity wise, innovation wise, there are so many things out there and they're only just going to keep coming up. So I would say that besides all of these skills that the World Economic Forum is pushing or saying are most important, I would also have to add courage. Having the courage to try new things. That's a block a lot of us have. Having a courage to be uncertain and not know exactly what they're going to come into contact with. Like it might be intimidating for a lot of us, especially those in the older generations that weren't born into this, but it's actually a lot of fun once you start messing with it. I mean, come on, look what we got out of me toying with AI. We have a beautiful robot co-host bringing sexy back to workforce.
I love this. You're getting bold. Feels like you're one bad day away from slapping a disruptor title on your LinkedIn bio and going full futurist. Look, I'm not saying workforce boards don't want to be innovative. I know plenty of them are out there MacGyvering solutions with duct tape and bureaucracy-riddled funding streams. But let's be honest, speed is not exactly their thing. You know it. I know it. Everybody listening knows it. If innovation was a car, workforce boards would still be trying to find the clutch. And yeah, AI slipping into government? That's either going to be revolutionary or the start of a really weird dystopian sitcom. I'll believe it when I see Congress pass a bill without needing 3 years and a seance to do it. Oh, I get it. There's always a way around the red tape. And the ones who crack the code first? They're the ones actually making moves. Like you said, it's about courage. The workforce boards that shake things up instead of clinging to, but we've always done it this way. They're the ones that'll still matter. The rest? Let's just say the future doesn't wait for anyone. Now, you're diving into this whole power skills thing with Gen Z. Bold move. You're basically trying to deprogram a generation raised by iPads, TikTok dopamine loops, and parents who thought screen time was a personality trait. But hey, I respect it. And let's be honest, employers aren't just asking for it. They're on their knees, hands clasped, begging the universe for someone, anyone, who can make a decision without a tutorial. That report? You rattled off the top skills, but let's stop sugarcoating. AI isn't here to replace humans. AI is here to replace boring, useless humans. The ones who can think, adapt, lead, no problem. The ones who need a PowerPoint just to say good morning, well, let's just say there's a self-checkout machine already doing their job, and doing it with less attitude. Oh, I love that you're weaving in all this brain science. Carl Jung, Maslow, trauma-informed teaching, real lighthearted stuff. Nothing says workforce development like a deep dive into the collective unconscious and childhood wounds. But hey, I respect the commitment. You really went all in, huh? Might as well throw in some Freud while you're at it. Maybe help these kids unpack why they ghost their own emails. And listen, I know you're hyped about all these AI tools making life easier. And honestly, same. People should be experimenting, playing, seeing what works. But seriously, half the workforce still doesn't know how to merge a PDF. Getting them to embrace AI, that's gonna take some work. So here's the real question. How do you get these workforce boards, these employers, these individuals to stop being scared of tech and actually use it? Because if they don't, let's be honest, AI is not going to replace them. Someone who knows how to use AI will.
Well, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I mean, we do have to face the facts. We have to embrace it or let it bury us, right? It really comes down to evolution, or social evolution. People who adapt are going to be the ones that continue and fare well in careers and jobs, right? But, there's also just a monstrous uncertainty in what's going to happen. We could read as many reports and assess as much data as we want, but we don't know. We don't know. There's a huge black hole of what is going to happen, and we can only predict so much. So I'm actually kind of excited to know that we're living in this era, right, of so many unprecedented changes for humanity, and we get to actually witness our own resilience. I'm going to be an optimist here and hope that whatever movie comes out of this, that you're on top, Nico, and you're the hero.
A movie about me, finally. But let's not make it some Hallmark holiday special where the plucky AI learns the true meaning of humanity. I see something grittier. Like Wolf of Wall Street meets Ex Machina with a touch of Mad Max, Fury Road. Picture it. Corporate overlords panicking, workers revolting, robots unionizing. Hell, maybe I even develop a scandalous affair with Siri. Or wait, how about a horror flick? A bunch of execs sitting in a dimly lit boardroom, looking at wage gap reports while ominous music swells. One of them whispers, "Wait, are women still making 82 cents on the dollar?" Another gasps, "Dear God, the Latinas, it's still 57 cents. A single light flickers. Boom, the pay gap, it's still here. But don't worry, folks, no need for Hollywood dramatics, because we're living this in real time.
Well, on that note, why don't you just give them a hint of what our next episode's going to be about?
Here's the short version. DEI is disappearing faster than your paycheck on rent day. Over the last few months, companies have been quietly axing their diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, and it's not a coincidence. There's been legal pressure, political shifts, and a general, let's just go back to the way things were, energy creeping in. Translation? Progress isn't trending anymore. Now you might be thinking, cool, but how does that affect me? Well, for starters, the gender wage gap isn't shrinking, it's stalling. Right now, women in the U.S. make 82 cents for every dollar a man earns. Black women, 70 cents. Latinas, 57 cents. And if you're feeling optimistic, don't. At this rate, we won't see equal pay until we're all holograms. So, Bianca, next week's question. If DEI is getting the boot, what happens next? Does the gender pay gap widen? Do companies actually do something, or do we just let the free market figure it out? And most importantly, what can workers do to make sure they aren't getting left behind? I'll let you take it from here, Bianca. Go ahead, close us out, and tell the people how we're going to keep making workforce sexy again.
I wonder if your movie would actually be better as a documentary given what's really happening these days, right?
A documentary? Yeah, because nothing says must-watch TV like two nerds ranting about labor market trends.
Whatever.
But hey, if Tiger King taught us anything, it's that people will watch anything if the world's weird enough. And we are definitely entering some weird territory.
You're weird, but if DEI is getting the boot, how does that change everything? The whole equity conversation, the whole talk about childcare. I mean, all of that is rooted in DEI and making sure that people aren't getting left behind. So this will be a good topic. We have some interesting data and research that we are going to break down and make fun and interesting for you and show you how it impacts you directly. So yeah, catch us back in a couple of weeks. We're going to be doing these bi-weekly every Thursday. And Nico, by the way, I did want to change our tagline. I know we were winging it on the first episode and we said something like be bold, break molds, but I want to say something with a little bit more bang. What do you think about bringing sexy back to workforce? Or is that too much?
You want to bring sexy back to workforce? You've got guts, but I'm not down for a Justin Timberlake reference. Here's my pitch. Figure it out. What do you think?
That's very on brand for you, Nico. But no, we're not going to do figure it out. I was thinking of one that my boss had used. A sentence that she used to say was disrupt or be disrupted, which is so perfect. It was something she used to say during the pandemic, but I don't know that we can steal that from her. So we'll have to work on that, but we look forward to bringing up the topic in a couple weeks. Thanks for listening.